Hey fans, welcome to Beyond the Fandom. My guest in this episode is the band Wake Me from Denver, Colorado. I found these guys on YouTube for a cover they did of the song Kiss from a Rose, which is one of my favorite songs, and man, did they crush it. This is an awesome cover. So I contacted them, we did this interview, we had a great time talking, some fun stories, and I had a special guest sit in. My buddy Sev joined me for the interview to provide his input. Please enjoy. So let's go ahead and start with introductions.
Okay. So my name's Justin Ray, lead singer and rhythm guitar.
And then my name's Travis Authier, and I play drums.
And Colin Sanford, do the backup singing and lead guitar. And who we don't have with us is Travis Bennett. He's a bass player. He was unavailable.
So, how'd you guys get started? I was just looking through your history and stuff. I saw that you guys were initially called No Fair Fights, and you've been around for quite a while. And then you renamed yourself to Wake Me.
Yeah, basically, No Fair Fights kind of started out as kind of a punk band. I think I'm the only original member here left, but we started it kind of in the early to mid 2000s. We were just kind of having fun in college type of deal, and then I met Colin here in 2005, and we both were very interested in kind of taking things more seriously, and we both also were really interested in kind of the post-hardcore movement that was going on at the time. So, and we were both like very influenced by that. So we kind of started a side band, ended up kind of taking over the name No Fair Fights just because we had, it's kind of such a pain in the butt to come up with a new band name. Yeah. So, we kind of really built the band and the name really from there for a few years, and until we kind of hit the next plateau, and we actually met our current drummer Travis, and kind of really helped push our skills and talents. We feel to the next level as far as kind of more into the metal and technical stuff. Right. And I think that album that we ended up putting out together around 2010 was kind of a culmination of that effort, and that's where the Kiss from a Rose cover kind of resulted from that as well. And then so that kind of brought us to a couple years ago. We just have been really, as we get older and kind of develop more, at least me personally, we've talked about like just kind of maturing our musical style and writing style, and just kind of decided that the No Fair Fights name was not really, it just didn't feel like we represented that anymore, and really wanted just to kind of have a fresh, clean start, new brand, and don't need to see like pictures of 19-year-old me walking around doing stupid stuff like that. So
right. Everything matured a little bit.
Yeah, we basically were able to get away from like the bad like videos of us playing poorly live, back in the day. So it's nice. It was nice to sort of, we recognize where we come from and everything, but it's nice to have the best content, forward.
Yeah, exactly. You can see that shift. You can see that shift between listening to your older stuff as No Fair Fights to transitioning to Wake Me. You can see the growth in the music and the style change a little bit. Like you said, becomes more technical and more rounded off. It sounds nice.
Right on. Thanks. Yeah, I think, we had mulled over it for a while, and we had an opportunity to work with Tom Denny from A Day to Remember last year on a couple of the singles on our new album. And he really kind of solidified the thought process behind it, still being, essentially an undiscovered band to 99.9% of people. It's like we can't really afford for someone, if they only get one chance to hear us, they can't really afford for them to not hear our best stuff. So
right.
We just kind of felt like that made a lot of sense.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
So yeah.
Yeah, where did the name come from?
Well, honestly, after about a week of just blasting text messages of every possible name that would come to mind, I think ultimately, Justin came up with this one, and it was like a name that we didn't all hate, and it wasn't taken. So it was like, that sounds good. Like, let's not, we could be here for months. Let's just, get it done. And it felt nice. Like the name, just the sound, the words just felt more we felt more at home. I feel like with that name rather than the old one. So
yeah, I like it.
Nice. Yeah. We feel like it's got a little bit more room to grow than what we had before.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
I wanted to ask you guys, listening to y'all's music, it's really good. The style that y'all play, very punkish with a good metal speed to it. What's some of y'all's influences on when you're creating the music that you're doing right now?
Yeah, I think what we're trying to do, we used to focus on writing like just the coolest parts and then putting them together to make a song. Mm-hmm. And I think what we've really worked on transitioning into this, newer sound is focusing on writing good songs and worry about sprinkling in, guitar riffs and cool little nuggets after, that's like a secondary goal. Like, right. The main goal is just to get like the catchiest, most memorable, well put together, well crafted songs. Definitely. I think it's kind of our current goal right now. So
yeah, it's like listening to the way y'all play and the style, like I said, it's real simple. It's something that me and Ali always talk about, when we're hearing music. We don't necessarily need to hear the overly excited riffs or the overly, drawn out drum beats and stuff like that. You want to hear something simple. You want to hear the words. And then at the same time, you want to hear the artistry and what you guys passionately play for, what you're trying to portray to us. And, a lot of our songs come out that way. It really hit me. I've been listening to you guys for the past couple of days. It's been pretty awesome.
Right on,
awesome,
man. Yeah,
it's great to hear. Thank you.
I think individually we all kind of have our fallbacks and our guilty pleasures and stuff. But I think one thing that's kind of helped us just kind of be comfortable moving in a different direction. Most of us are very into metal and heavy. Metalcore, whatever, all the different genres they call it now. But I think it's kind of seeing, some of our early big influences, at least for Colin and I, was Thrice.
Okay.
Good band. Good band.
And we almost to a shameless level. But I think seeing the maturity that they have kind of done, that they've gone through as a band and as, people, and just, we've got to meet them a couple of times, and just seeing just kind of the journey that they've taken as musicians. I think that that's something that, at least me personally, I've decided I want to take, my journey and not just try to put the same stuff out over and over. And, for me personally, I think what I've tend to be, more focused on these days. And, I used to practice sweep picking and, like studying all the neoclassical guys. Right. Lexi Leho, Yngwie Malmsteen, all that stuff. But now it's just, I just really want to have a genuine idea or concept that people can relate to. And even if that's just like a simple guitar riff, but, more importantly for me, just like vocally, I think if you got to have some sort of genuine element to what you're doing, because a lot of them, it seems like a lot of the produced music these days is just like very contrived, and it has its right place, and I love listening to it too. But I really want to focus on like something genuine that people can really respond to on an emotional level.
Yeah, right. It's weird, man. I feel like in the earlier days, you're almost like trying to prove yourself as a player. So it was more about showing people how good of a player you were, and not really serving the song, like making a really good song. You know what I mean?
Right.
So kind of getting over that, I think that just kind of comes with just getting older. I think, you're more comfortable with your playing ability, and you're not like just dying to just shred and melt people's faces all the time. It's more about,
not trying as hard. You're being yourself. You're being comfortable with what you have, and focus on the quality as opposed to the spectacle, I guess.
Yeah.
Nice. So what do you guys go through when you're thinking up your music and you're sitting down to work on creating new songs and new lyrics? What's your creation process like?
This is something that's kind of been evolving over the past, I could call it album cycle, but past batch of songs cycle, I guess. I think Colin kind of describes it best. But the last album we put out is No Fair Fights. Some of those songs took us years to put together, just because we were basically we would sit in a room and it was kind of right by democracy. Someone would bring a riff, but you wouldn't get too far down the road. Everyone would get together and jam out, and you basically wait for lightning to strike on something. I think that's why, we feel like that album turned out absolutely as good as it possibly could have. But at the same time, for how long it took, we feel like, I guess we just felt like that wasn't really like an efficient or sustainable way of writing. And it also, you end up sacrificing a lot on an individual level, I think, doing that. And I think that's where we decided that we wanted to really emphasize the individualism. It may not be the same on every song, but, if this person was really passionate about writing like these lyrics or this song, that'll come through, instead of being like, is everyone happy with these lyrics, kind of deal. So now we basically have, what we've kind of been doing is, Colin and I, both were kind of lead singers in some shape or form, our whole music career. So we just kind of start writing melodies and songs on our own, not really caring what it's going to end up sounding like. And, and then if it starts to develop, we kind of bring a concept or a whole idea to the table, and then we kind of work out how it all really fits together and how we want to portray it musically, like genre wise or whatever. So that's something we experimented with this last batch of songs. And I think we all can't really see going back to doing it the other way.
It's easier, honestly, in my opinion, to write that way as, if Justin brings a pretty fleshed out idea, it's way easier for me to have spontaneous thoughts and ideas and how we can make it better, or change certain things. It just, when there's more meat to it, when you first hear it, it's way easier for me, at least, to kind of assess it or come up with something that will help it, or even think about what the next part should do. So in that way, it's just gone a lot faster. We're way faster at writing songs that way. So
that makes sense. Like you said, make yourself more efficient. You each get your own, area of specialties where you can apply yourselves and then come together and bring it together as a group.
Exactly.
So, as far as your lyrics and everything goes, where do you get your inspirations for your writing?
Yeah. Sorry, you did ask that before. My bad. I think, both Colin and I write lyrics. I think more of mine ended up on this last round just for whatever reason. But, like I said, my focus these days has kind of been more on the genuine aspect of it, whether it's an actual experience you've gone through or whatnot. But really what I've been trying to harness lately, just because my life can kind of be a little bit mundane, to be honest. I've got my 9 to 5, I've got a life and all that stuff, but there's a lot of other stories to tell. So I like seeking inspiration from other people's stories. So that song Starlight, for example, which is kind of a near and dear topic to my heart, but I had a close buddy who lost his brother a few years ago, and I just saw the roller coaster that he went through individually. And so I just really tried to put myself in his shoes and really try to assimilate what he was going through and how he just, was needing something in his life to make sense. And I just kind of draw off that. I don't know. It's just something that I do naturally. I try to think about what other people see and how they feel. And so for me as a lyricist, that's kind of what I've been more focusing on lately and just had more inspiration doing. And then even honestly, movies, movie plots and stuff, which is kind of
a good book or something that just gives you just a certain feeling.
Yeah, material to work off of.
Yeah.
Developing concepts out of that. That's also kind of a fun thing.
It's funny.
So I think there's that, really just trying to really struggle, I think is a very, it's something that, a lot of people go through, and some people aren't really willing to talk about it or put themselves out there. And I think that's one of the things that I've found is great about music, is it provides an outlet for people in a very introverted way if they want it to be.
Right.
And so I think kind of outwardly exploring that as, musicians, we can help people make sense of that, or at least kind of try to connect some things in their mind, or at least, if anything, make them feel like that they're, not the only ones going through it. So
right. Makes it relatable. There are some bands out there that, for example, like Coheed and Cambria, most of their work and their albums are one long story that has nothing to do with them. It's this long space odyssey they've been telling since the beginning. So sometimes drawing inspirations from, like you said, from books, movies, or telling other people's stories helps create the music and allows you to share their story plus live in their shoes for a little bit. So I like that.
Yeah, right on.
I don't know why I still talk to you sometimes. I need your starlight to fill me. I need your starlight, your starlight. I need your starlight, your starlight. And all the while I kept their faith on paper wings, when my own was all but gone and falling short of every flight. How can I take your place in everything, when all the strength I have is just so tangled up inside? But I will go, walk along this faded line, searching for something just to keep my way before I lose it all. I need your starlight, your starlight. I need your starlight, your starlight.
Any major shows that you guys have played? I know you guys have put in a lot of work on the road and have played a lot of places and a lot of big concerts and series and stuff. Is there any major ones that you can remember directly that are like huge impact on you?
Yeah, I mean, we've had a couple pretty awesome experiences. Say one of the cooler ones, at least for me, we got a open for August Burns Red, which is a Christian metal band that
Okay.
we've all been a pretty big fan of for a while.
They're
That
a
was
big band. Yeah.
awesome. And then I'd say probably the biggest one for us, or definitely the best so far, was opening for Skillet at Elitch's last year.
Nice.
That's actually one of my favorite
Yeah,
bands,
that's,
actually.
that's Seth's favorite.
They were
That's
great.
awesome.
Yeah, really nice,
Super nice people, too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It
we
was-
actually got to do a little semi meet and greet with them down here where we live, me and Ali here.
It was an impromptu. I managed to wrangle him into it by luck, by being, cool at the radio station. So
that's awesome, man.
That's sweet.
it was funny trying to get a hold of him when he's in the audience watching the show, and I'm over there by the side, trying to track him down. Like, you better get here now. So yeah,
It was an awesome experience.
yeah, they're great.
Yeah, that was definitely a memorable one for sure.
Yeah, and we, I think the craziest thing on that one was, we woke up that morning. Yeah, we were very, lucky to get that to just get invited to play that show. But we'd played some bigger shows, so we weren't like too overtaken by it until like that morning. Our, one of the guys that does some booking for us, he called us and said, "Hey, yeah, they were expecting 5,000 people to this thing, but it, they called me this morning and they've expanded it. It's going to be over 10,000 people there."
Wow.
And we were like, no,
Yeah, we're like,
no way.
I mean, what you gotta understand is there's very rarely does news like that actually turn out to be what it's being sold as. So
Right.
it's like, one of our favorite quotes that could just not be more true of working in this like industry is, something is nothing until it's something.
Yeah.
So it's like, you kind of have to keep your expectations in check.
Mhm.
And so when we heard that, we were just like, all right, whatever,
Right.
all right, 10,000 people. So we show up and, it's a big amphitheater. So like, well, they could definitely fit that many people in here. And sure enough, man, by the time we got on, it was packed and turned out just to be the biggest show we've played. So
Yeah,
Nice.
by
That's
Nice.
awesome.
Yeah, definitely. That's a huge crowd.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that would fall under some of your epic moments. Any other epic moments you guys remember? Anything like something that just huge that happened on stage in the middle of a performance, or on a road trip somewhere?
Yeah, man. So our bass player TJ, this has to do with the August Burns Red show. So about a year and a half or 2 years before we played that show, he had went and seen that band live and got to talk to some of the guys afterwards. And I think he was talking to Jake, which is the lead singer, right? And TJ was just telling him how much that he just wants to play music and wants to be in a band and all this, and Jake signs the back of his ticket and he's like, you just got to stick with it, man. You'll follow your dreams. That whole speech, right?
Yeah.
Well, sure enough, we get him, we sign him onto our band, and TJ is up there sharing a stage with those guys like 2 years later, and during their set, because he had actually reminded him about it. And during their set, Jake had a whole little monologue about how that happened, and how it's so cool to see somebody that was just 2 years ago that he was trying to give inspiration to actually take it and come up and play that show. And then TJ proceeds to stage dive and to nobody.
Oh no!
We're all just like having the best time, and then all of a sudden we see TJ out there on the stage, and he just jumps like a crazy wild person.
This guy right here, I saw him 2 years ago. He's got a huge, and he's hit the floor.
Don't do that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, so I think one thing that we haven't done as much of as we'd like to is touring. We've done a bit ourselves, and certainly need to do more of it. But I think it's just awesome getting out on the road for us. I mean, obviously, we're certainly not relying on band income, obviously, to at this stage in our careers or whatever. But so we're able to kind of just really enjoy the experience for what it is. We're not like trying to, relying on paying bills or whatever right now. But I just think getting out on the road and having dedicated time with, just with music and with meeting people and talking about things that you're passionate about, and it reaffirms, your relationships that you have in the band. And like, I think it's a good test too for a band to go on the road, because, kind of everything gets stripped away and you see the best and worst of everyone. And I think for us, like it's like solidified our friendships and like just made us more tight as people and as a band. So I think that's, to me, like from an epic experience standpoint, the few good tours that we've had have been pretty epic, at least in my memory. So
absolutely.
Right. Speaking of tours, where all have you guys been? I know you're out of Denver, right?
That's
yes.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we've done a couple of West Coast tours the past few years, and a few kind of 1 or 2 date out and backs, which is brutal.
Yeah.
It's just, Denver is kind of in a weird spot. There's like an 800-mile radius. I mean, to get to really any kind of other major city like Chicago or Kansas City. So it's you got to really drive to get anywhere, any other major markets. So it's just knowing that you got to kind of hustle a little bit. But we've done some West Coast stuff, mostly California.
That usually involves going through like Texas, hitting like 3 or 4 shows in Texas and going through Arizona.
Texas is
kind of that kind of
not
thing.
West Coast though.
Well, no, what I'm saying is that the loop.
The loop.
On the way to California,
Go down and then go west.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, and then hitting like Utah Nevada on the way back kind of thing. And so we've done that a few times. Did a South by Southwest thing a couple of years ago, played some shows down there.
Nice and awesome.
That was really fun. Just a week of, a little bit of debauchery and just playing shows, and that was great. It was like Bourbon Street, but with music, with modern bands.
Yeah, Austin's.
I saw that y'all actually opened up for the Vans Warped Tour when it was down in Denver as well too.
Yeah. So we've actually been able to do that. I think 3 times now.
Yeah.
They were all. It was all kind of under the Ernie Ball kind kind of battle bands thing that they've been doing for several years now. And I think 2006 we did it with the old lineup, and then 2009 I think, and then 2013 I think. And that's always fun, man, because that's, I mean, especially for our, I guess, genre of music, you know, that's always just kind of been where all the best bands are. That's where all the kids go. And it's just awesome being there because, you know, growing up, that's, you know, that's where you go to see all your good bands, all the good bands, especially in Denver. A lot of the big bands back in the day didn't come through Denver as much. So that's like your one chance to just go crazy.
And I always felt like the energy was really good there too. Just, you know, everyone was just there to see music, and it always felt like the crowds were nice, like just really receptive. And
it's gotta be nice to play a big festival in your hometown too.
Oh, no doubt about it. Yeah.
I mean, I think that at the same token though, it's kind of like everybody's trying to sell you something there. I mean, it's kind of tough to gain people's attention for more than just a few seconds these days, and
that is true.
I think it becomes apparent in that situation, and that's where really your music speaks louder than anything else you can do. Is, you know, that your short time on stage is when you got to really throw down and sound as good as you can, because that's when people listen. Really,
sometimes those are the greatest shows though, where you're just like super motivated to grab somebody's attention by force, you know?
Right.
So end up just
that's when you win them over.
Yeah, exactly. Like you for some reason, I don't know, you get more juiced for shows like that, I feel like.
Yeah. Definitely. So, new music and projects you guys are working on. You said you've got the album that came out a few years ago, right?
So actually, the EP, the Wake Me EP, which is the only one we've put out, the Safety Abandon EP is what it's called.
Right.
Came out in May, actually, so it's fairly new still. But I think, you know, one of our, I guess, business plans or business goals is to try to put out more music more frequently. So we're already kind of crunching on some ideas for the next EP, which, you know, hopefully we're planning on trying to have something released by early spring, early to mid spring. So wintertime, things kind of slow down in general in the industry, and also especially in Denver. So
gives us a chance to hole up and kind of write and record and do all that kind of stuff, which is really hard to do during the summer when you're trying to play shows and just, you know, be active. So
go out there and push the music that you've been working on.
That's exactly right. Yeah. So I think that's our goal here is going to be to get another 4 to 6 good songs together, another EP, just kind of keep cranking it out.
Mm-hmm.
So where can they pick up your album at? Is it on iTunes, or can they order a hard copy somewhere?
Yeah, so we do our own distribution through CD Baby. So you can get our physical album through CD Baby or through us directly on Big Cartel. But I think it's actually down right now, but we should be getting that up here soon.
Okay.
And then, you know, really, honestly,
digitally you can do iTunes.
Yeah, digitally it's available. We pretty much make it available anywhere on digitally, iTunes, Amazon.
It's on Spotify,
all that stuff. Yeah. So I think we're kind of more and more being more committed to the digital model. I mean, it's just there's a lot less overhead and cost to building a product, and I know that's something the industry is kind of going through the growing pains right now, but I think we've seen more success and more outreach to people than we ever did with digital streaming and all that stuff, and we think it's mostly a positive thing. So
yeah, you're seeing music stores getting smaller and smaller, or just shutting down, or they're coming back as something completely different. Like I think FYE has made a new trend of coming back where they're selling like a lot of collectible type stuff, not so much music anymore.
That's cool. Yeah, right. Yeah, and I know the vinyl's kind of been making a
resurgence,
making a comeback. Yeah,
a little bit of a comeback. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not something we've ever really done. It'd be cool to do at some point, but I think we'd need to be convinced that a few people would buy it first. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Well, it's definitely a collector's item. I know I've got a few that I picked up that I've got autographed that are up on the wall hanging. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. some of my prizes.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really cool.
Excellent. So we'll look for that on CD Baby, and then all other forms of digital, iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, and then definitely check out the YouTube channel as well if you want to watch the videos, which I love your video for Never Gonna Let You Go. It's hilarious. It's a great video and it's funny. So
yeah, man. Like we were in need of putting some music video out for this new stuff, and we had that tour lined up. And actually, there's some shots in there from that big Skillet show we were talking about. And
yeah, I saw the crowd.
Yeah.
We were just like, it just seems like people want to see like who you really are.
Yeah.
And it's just, there's some value to that, and that's not something we've ever done. We always try to do something super produced,
super serious or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, let's just have fun with this. We just took a ton of video. One of our good buddies, Joe Large, just a huge supporter of us, and he's got a lot of music industry experience filming and stuff. So he came along with us and kind of taught us how to tour and stuff. He's been on Warped Tour a lot for all the full dates and everything. And he just was like, let's just have fun, take some video, and just be yourselves, and get
a lot of hair flips in there. That was the most important.
They always make me laugh. The hair flips. It's excellent though, man. I love it because it's intimate, it's funny, it's personal. It's you guys just having a good time doing what you love on the road, playing some shows, showing the crowd, showing the fun moments. It's an awesome video.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
We had fun making it. So.
So, speaking of YouTube, let's talk about social media. Where can the fans follow you guys at?
So the social media we're kind of socially awkward media, but our TJ, our bass player, actually is kind of he's the only guy who understands all that stuff. But so we've been doing the Facebook thing, and Spotify has social media aspects to it. YouTube as well. Those are kind of the main platforms, and Instagram, I guess.
Yeah, I think Instagram and Facebook, if you're looking straight up like social media pictures, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Instagram seems to be just cleaner,
that's actually how I'm doing it mainly. I'm using Instagram to post to Facebook, which is kind of nice. Two birds with one stone.
Right, knocking them both out. Make it a little bit easier.
Sure. That's exactly right.
So
and you get all the nice filters. So
we'll have links below so everybody can go ahead and click and follow and support you guys. Instagram seems to be, I hear it in all the interviews I do. Everybody I talk to, it's always Instagram. So, and I keep saying I'm going to get better at Instagram, and I never do.
We're in the same boat, man. Yep.
Excellent. So, you have any parting words for the fans?
No, I think we just, love the opportunity to reach out to new people and new fans, new platforms. I think, one thing that we really are interested in doing and have had some success with is, like music in videos online, and, even like video games and stuff too. We haven't done much with the video game side of things, but I don't know. I guess that's not really anything for the fans there, but that's just something that we're really focused on trying to like spread our reach in multiple ways so that, a band maybe hears us for the first time on a Monster Energy video or something like that. So
Right.
Yeah, definitely. You guys are pretty awesome. Your music is really good. Sleep is actually one of my favorite songs. I just wanted to throw that one out there.
Thank you.
I'm still
man. Yeah.
Kiss by a Rose is one of my all-time favorite songs, and you guys crushed it, man. It's so awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
I love
it.
it.
was really good.
Well,
That was fun
I'll
to
give you a
play.
little teaser. We've got a new cover song that it's done basically. We haven't released it yet, but we're thinking we might throw that out there this winter just to give people something to chew on over the winter time while we're working on new material. But we're super excited about this new cover too, and
Nice.
so yeah, keep an eye out for that when
Nice.
it drops.
Awesome.
Definitely. That's great.
Welcome to your life. There's no turning back. Even while we sleep, we will find you acting on your best behavior. Turn your back on Mother Nature. Everybody wants to rule the world.
All right, so thank you guys for joining us. I really appreciate you guys taking the time. We're definitely looking forward to what you have coming out, and we love what you're doing now. And for the fans, I hope you guys pay attention. Go follow them. Go check them out on YouTube. Watch their videos. Listen to their music. Check them out in all formats that they have. Order a CD if you can, because I know those are going out of style. So get it for vintage purposes. When these guys are up there headlining, then you say, "Hey, I got one of the originals." So
Right on, man. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you
Yeah.
guys so much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Stay